I'm Jessica Ann Pressler, and you've tuned into Your Traitor Within, a podcast that exposes the brutal truths of healing, self discovery, and breaking free from relentless patterns of self sabotage. I am honored to welcome today's guest, Tim Kassouf, who is a personal trainer and transformation coach who once lost everything he thought mattered, his sense of self, buried under drug addiction and the weight of his own insecurity. But through therapy, AA, and the return of faith, Tim found sobriety and began the slow, hard working of rebuilding. And as he did, discipline and fitness became more than habits. They became pillars of a completely new identity. Today, Tim is in the best shape of his life, runs a six-figure coaching business, and has dedicated his career to helping others break through their own barriers physically, mentally, and spiritually. His story is a powerful reminder that the same voice that once tears us down can be transformed into one that drives us forward. Tim, welcome to Your Traitor Within.
Good to be here.
I am so happy. I've been watching you and on social media
Yeah,
and really impressed with what you're doing. Really
thank
impressed
you.
and I can see people's responses and how you're really helping people and inspiring, incredibly inspiring for people.
Yeah, that's what I live for. That's the purpose. That's the raison d'etre to be able to um just give somebody that little bit of inspiration to take a step to move in a direction that they've maybe never thought was possible for them, but always wished for, longed for, had given up hope for. If I can watch somebody move in that direction a little bit, I'm real happy. And then if I get to work with you and really help you, uh, you know, step forward into that journey with force, it's a beautiful thing. It's very rewarding. It's the reason I love what I do so much.
hmm And so, if you don't mind, I would love you to tell us how you got here. How you, because I know, as I said in the intro, you had your own struggles. And so you come to people not only with knowledge, but with experience. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, I will try to be succinct, but I've never been good at that. So I'll do my best. Um, I would say the biggest struggle, the first struggle that I dealt with for most of my life is insecurity and body image issues. I was a chubby kid in my mind growing up. I was like the fattest kid alive, and somewhere along the lines had just come to believe on a deep level that I'm less than. My worth is totally, tied to um, how I look and how popular I am. And I can look back now and see, some speak more articulately about that. But at the time, I just how I felt. It was just a fact of reality. Um, and so I grew up kind of with that and got into sports and that helped a lot. Had success in school, had success in sports. And so when I was achieving, I always felt good about who I was when I had something to point to that I could validate my worth by.
Right.
I felt good. Um, Went through what I thought was a pretty typical path, college, graduated double major, got pretty good jobs right out of college, got married very quickly at that point as well. Had some pretty severe marital struggles right out of the gate, and we'll get into all that as much as you'd like. And in that space is where the body image issues just kind of really resurfaced for me. I had been maintaining a reasonable level of fitness and felt pretty good about that. But as the marriage was crumbling, I was pouring myself into work more and more and more, and just ignoring any type of health and fitness. And then the cycle that I could define now that I didn't know I was in was, I'm just gonna, I'm stressed, I'm tired, I'm just gonna eat whatever. I want to feel better. I'm gonna eat this pizza. We're gonna order pizza tonight instead of cooking something, and I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and feel so guilty about that the way I'm gonna deal with that guilt is with something else that's tasty and good. It makes me feel better and forgets it. And real quickly, just kind of got to a place where I no longer felt good about really anything I was doing at that space as I'm trying to work a ton and a ton and a ton. Um, I had been prescribed Adderall for ADHD and used it as prescribed for a long time. And slowly, one more, I'm getting tired in the middle of the afternoon. I'm going to space them out. Now I'm going to take an extra one. I'll skip the weekend. And then now I'm
Mhm.
running out early and I'm calling a guy I knew from a guy in high school to get more. And then it real quickly turned into just a full blown, what anybody would describe as drug addiction. Um, and being so wired all the time to come down, it moved it toward, started to incorporate opiates as well. So I was full blown heroin addict pretty quickly there, and still eating like a drug addict too. Um,
Mhm.
I always joke I was the only fat heroin addict I ever met. Most of the guys showed up like 90 pounds soaking wet. I was like, 90 pounds overweight, more than that. And so when as that's going on, and I'm doing everything I can to hide it and pretend everything's okay, and finally I can't keep the charade up anymore, and my only move was to go to rehab. So I went to rehab. Um, I
And a
love.
decision you made for yourself, like you knew that you needed help and you,
I knew I needed help for a long time, but I didn't. It's hard to. I didn't believe. I didn't believe that it would work.
oh,
I
okay.
didn't know if there's a. I really just had no other options. It was that, or like I got kicked out of a halfway house. There was no place for me to be.
Mhm.
I loved the idea of getting sober, and I said, "Yep." And I believed past evidence of my own discipline and willpower. I was a successful, championship athlete. Okay, I'm going to go to rehab. We're going to do this. Um, it did not last long. I went to rehab, like in Florida, South Florida. I left, and about 30 days later, I came back, and
Mhm.
um, and at that point, I had no intention of getting sober or staying sober. I just had absolutely no other option. I fully did not believe that it was possible for me at that point. Um, in fact, like the third or fourth day in, I checked myself out of rehab against medical advice, with the full express intent to go overdose and end it. I just had no concept that it could improve. I remember having specifically the thought that, like, even if by some miracle I was able to hold on and get like a year sober, which seemed like the most absurd thought, but even if that was possible, there's no way anybody in my life's ever going to trust me again. This marriage is over. I'm fat and out of shape. No one's ever going to love me again. I'm going to be alone. Um, this is not a life worth living. My family's always going to be living in fear and waiting for, like, when's it going to blow up again. So I'll do them a favor, and I will check out. They can grieve and move on instead of always living with this thing. That was the line of thinking that I had. It was absolute lies, utter nonsense.
Mhm.
Um, but it was clear as day. And
Well, that's your
I
traitor, one of your traitor withins that's
oh
talking to you and telling you that,
exactly that, yeah, for sure. And it's tricky because the traitor within, it sounds like you. It sounds like your thoughts.
right?
It's your voice.
Right.
So it's real hard to distinguish sometimes.
Mhm.
Is this a real thought? Is this a legitimate, actual line of thinking, or are
Mhm.
these lies that I'm telling myself? Is this a way of justifying, rationalizing what I want? I'm sure now, looking back, I'm sure that part of that was just a justification, rationalization to go get high one more time. It
Mhm.
might be the last time, but just that, I'm sure that was a piece of it.
That's
Um,
interesting.
but all the other pieces were true. I was ready to just hang it up. Um, I got kind of stopped in that quest, and my thought process was, all right, I'm not gonna. I'll just do it later. I'll finish this out, and I'll just finish this program, and then, when no one's expecting it, I can just, go into the corner and disappear, and no one will. I don't want people to be freaking out or afraid. I just want them to find out and then move on. And that was the best thing that ever happened to me. And that's my advice for anybody who's feeling like, it'd be better for everybody else if I wasn't here, is do it later. Just wait a little
Mhm.
while. And man, I'm glad I did. It was crazy because that again, I had no intention of no willpower of getting. I'm going to do it this time. That wasn't there when I showed up in rehab at all. But after that, I had 4 years sober. Um, After that stay, I built some sobriety and started to put this life together. So I had come from Maryland, Virginia area up north, and come to rehab in South Florida. And a part of the reason I was able to put that time together at that point was because I stayed here.
Mm-hmm.
I finished that program and I got in a halfway house. I had great friendships with good people that I had been through that program with. And even as they moved on, I developed good friendships with people both in and out of recovery that cared for me. Like I had friends that were not sober, didn't really know anything about recovery, that like threw a surprise party for me when I got 2 years sober. Um, and they were drinking at the party, which is I didn't it didn't bother me. They knew I could be around it. I was working at a restaurant with them at the time, so it wasn't like a disrespectful thing. It was just funny to me. I'm like, you care enough about me to celebrate this milestone of mine, and it's so foreign to you that you're not even like it's part of your life. I had really good people in my life for
Now,
so
it makes a difference, right? Support and
huge.
community.
It's everything. It really is. It really is. As a matter of fact, that springs it really well to finish the story for me. Like, so I had 4 years sober then, and then I relapsed at that point. And we can talk about all of the intricacies there, but the biggest thing is that um, it's like I think a lot of people can relate. Like I was feeling healthy, I was feeling better, so I stopped taking the antibiotics.
Mhm.
Like before
Yep.
I still had some left, but
Mhm.
I'm fine now. I stopped. Well, life was good. I stopped going to AA. I stopped, slowly. 5 days a week became three, became two, became I'm busy one. Hadn't been to church in a long time. Couldn't tell you the last time I had prayed. Um, and the worst thing that could happen to someone like me in that scenario, it happened. Everything kept getting better for a while. So I
Mhm.
was really convinced that, oh, I'm good. I didn't,
Mhm.
I was just chemically addicted. It was just the physical thing. I'm not really that guy. I don't really need those things. I'm so lucky. And it was so fast. It was so like a little bit of emotional turmoil. That Traitor whispering in my ear, and I was
Mhm.
out. But because of the support and the community that I put myself around, again, sober and not sober, just people that knew me, loved me. I was talked about being in recovery, that I was sober. So when things weren't looking right, it was very quickly that I got stopped
Mhm.
by people that cared about me. And hey, we want to. This isn't right. We want you to go get some help. And I was at that point, I had so much belief that I could do this, and that really that God could do this for me, and that but really that life could be beautiful in sobriety. Like I wasn't lost in that cloud of like I don't see how this is possible. I knew it, and I was like, yep, I need to get that help right away. And I went, and now we're back in a really good place. It's been another 4 years and going strong.
Congratulations
Thank you.
on moment in every day, and what wonderful friends
Yes.
too. And when when you can choose now the friends, right? You choose the friends that are loving and
Yeah.
compassionate.
Somebody
Yeah.
somebody made that point to me too. They said, this didn't happen by accident. You put yourself in a position where you're surrounded by people like this.
Hmm.
That wasn't by mistake. And that
Hmm.
really, that spoke to me. I try to be intentional now
Hmm.
in many ways about, hey, I'm not planning on ever picking up a drink or a drug again. And I'm doing everything I can to try to stay in a healthy place. I'm regular in AA. I'm regular with my therapist. I'm a regular church attendee. Like the things that help me stay sober, I do all of them. Um, but I still have to make decisions as a sober guy that to make sure the other guy, for example, I pay a little more than I should or than I could for health insurance because I have to make sure I have coverage for inpatient rehab if that ever comes up. And it'd be real easy to say, I don't need that.
Right.
Um, but that would just become an excuse for Tim who picks up something to say, well, now I can't even get help because I don't have insurance, so I'm just gonna keep going. I want to just make smart decisions now so that if that other guy shows up, he's kind of boxed in a little bit.
And to be honest with what's going on. So the trader
Yeah.
with my thing, this person could, for me, there's some times where you don't see the truth, right? So you
Oh,
can
yeah.
And so that's why I love when I put that together, because that was my one of my traders was, covering my eyes of the truth. And
That's another place where community is so helpful in therapy and AA, because other people around you can go,
yeah,
hey man, like I don't think you
exactly.
understand.
Yep.
And I can go, no, no, oh yeah, grab, you're right. That is what I'm doing. And you can, you can get stopped long before you're anywhere near taking an action that's going to really cause consequences.
Hmm. Okay, so you said you could say more about your first marriage, that marriage.
Yeah. So it was an interesting experience. We I grew up a Christian, grew up in the faith, and one of the things that I had wanted for a life partner was like somebody who's going to be really strong Christian, and she was probably more in her faith life than me, and I loved that. I thought, and getting honest about where I was emotionally at the time, I probably thought that was going to help me, like being with her would like take me to a better place spiritually and emotionally.
Mhm.
Um, and so one of the things I knew going in, her and I had a friendship for several years before we ever dated. And so I knew, hey, if we start dating, like we're going to be waiting until we get married to have sex, which I
Mhm.
was on board with. Because again, I thought this is a good way to like take me to a better place spiritually. This is going to make me better.
Right.
So that was the plan. That's what we did. And then we got married, and we couldn't have sex. It there was some physical problem that wasn't working out.
Mhm.
And so she had an appointment with her OBGYN. I thought, great, we'll figure out what's going on. Her doctor said everything's normal. Um, I see you have generalized anxiety disorder. It's probably in your head. She was joking. I'll write you a prescription for some red wine or some weed, but like you just need to relax. Um, and that was not it. So it was a while, about a year and a half, I think, of that situation. Thinking, thinking a lot of things, but before we found out what was really going on, uh, I finally got her to. My thought process was, if your anxiety is affecting you in such a way that's that manifesting physically in any way, but
Mhm.
that's affecting you so badly, we got to get you into therapy because it can help. So she was going to a therapist, and who eventually was like, "Yeah, okay, there's anxiety, but this isn't making. I want you to go see this specialist." Who diagnosed her pretty much immediately with a pretty rare condition. I'll never forget it: congenital neuroproliferative vestibulodynia. So something from birth that caused pain at pretty much the slightest contact in the area, and it was like a surgery to move forward. But by the time we got there,
Mhm.
I'm already I'm already using a little bit. Like I'm already down that path for sure because I'm buried in work and that makes sense. Home doesn't make sense. Any type of, and we had, what I would consider a pretty good physical relationship that didn't include sex before we got married, and that was done. That was done after the marriage because, hey, you want to like kiss and make out a little bit? You could have just said, you want to get disappointed and cry later? Like that was just not. So it
Understand.
was just easier to like, and yeah. So what I know now is that I spend every day feeling like lonely, rejected,
Right.
trapped, and stuck there.
Understand.
And I had no ability to like really look and see what I was going through. Trying to I kept trying to frame it for her, like what, like this must be so hard for you. Uh, again, I'm trying to really what I was doing was shoving down, ignoring my feelings, um, and trying to again cultivate this image of the good guy. Like
Mhm.
I never want any. I never want anybody to think I'm only in it for sex, which of course not. Like at this point, of course not. But like
Mhm.
it was so important. I'm more worried about her than me. Like, but nobody is worried about me at this point. Like nobody. There was at no point was I getting any kind of like
Mhm.
I wasn't seeking or looking for or even accepting probably if it had been offered any type of like help for my own mental state at this point. And I was really good at presenting one way.
That
And
you're okay and everything's okay, but
oh
inside
yeah,
hurting.
oh yeah, I was so good at it. I didn't even know sometimes,
Mhm.
often, that like I would pass a lie detector test. I'm great, and no, I'm not. Like, you ask, if somebody knew to ask the right questions, it would crumble real fast. But nobody, I didn't have those tools in place. Um, so yeah, so it was, and then at that point, now we've got addiction, active addiction for me. Um, she's trying to recover from the surgery, and you've been living for 2 or 3 years now, or maybe 2 years now, as a like a roommate, like like sort of.
Mhm.
Um, and it's that coming back from that just didn't seem possible. But again, also those feelings of like, yeah, but no one's, I'll die alone if I don't have this. So like, I got to try to keep this. And that was that's another reason why, like, yeah, I'll eat whatever, because
Mhm.
no one's ever going to see my shirt off again. Who cares? Like, um, but I cared, and I would, I mean, to where I would not look in the mirror, with, if I was getting in the bathroom to go in the shower, I'm not looking, because I would get like really mad at myself. Um, so yeah, that was the situation in the first marriage that took me to, that place, where addiction kind of ran rampant, and uh, that whole scenario scene I just painted before. And it's always important to me to really clarify, like, I don't. It's not her fault in any way. I don't blame her in any way. That was actually one of the things that made it really hard, because I knew enough to know her anxiety disorder is not her problem, not her fault. And I knew enough to know this, once we got a diagnosis, like, this medical condition is not her fault. So I had nobody. I had nowhere to go with these feelings. I was,
Right.
um, as much as I'd want to be frustrated or mad at her, I would always, just talk myself out of that, which again is really just stuffing it down,
Mhm.
um, and
Mhm.
never really, like, allow myself to feel,
Mhm.
any of that anger, frustration, any of that.
Now, looking
Um,
back, of course, it would have been ideal if you had that outlet. You could take care of her, and and you could, and there are things that you'd have to accept, like you couldn't fix it because you weren't a doctor, so you couldn't fix that.
yeah, I would have been
You had some
much
other place.
more. Exactly. I would have been
Yeah.
better equipped to be of service to her. The things I said I wanted to do, which was to be the good husband, I would have been a much better husband if I'd,
And
taken
taking
care of
care of
myself.
yourself. Exactly. Yes.
And that's been a lesson that I use all the time now. I work with a lot of parents and a lot of people that have really important responsibilities, and, oh, I can't, my health, fitness is secondary or third, tertiary, whatever, because, I have my family. I'm like, those things are very important, which is why you need to prioritize this. And I can talk from lived experience about that, as
Hmm.
opposed to just,
Hmm.
hypothetically telling you, yeah, it's probably pretty good for you to, work on your health. But, I can really, I can see how that would have been better for me, and how it is better for me now. I'm much, I think I'm much more valuable to the relationships that I have today, the friendships I have today, my wife today, because, I mean, I'm much better to my wife today. I'm a much better husband than I was, because of the work that I do on myself.
Hmm. Right. Yeah, I mean, there's that old oxygen mask thing. You need to put your oxygen mask on first before you put it on your child, which as a mother is like, what do you mean? I don't understand. Like, of course. And then, but then I'm like, okay, I get it because I can't function. I won't be able to help them if I can't breathe. So, but it's a hard thing to do sometimes, especially if you're programmed to, always help out, to always, and
Absolutely.
you're filled with empathy and you feel like you're failure. It's a lot of stuff involved in that to letting go. And
Yeah, and it's the oxygen mask analogy I love, because the reason you do that is because if you get hypoxic, if you are struggling to put somebody else's oxygen mask on before yours, and you pass out,
Mhm.
now nobody can help the child,
Correct.
and everybody's going to be passed out.
Hmm.
The better scenario is that the child passes out for a second while you are getting
Yeah.
secured,
And
and
then
then
you,
very, very quickly they're going to come right back to it.
right.
So, even accepting that sometimes that looks like a dangerous or uncomfortable thing for somebody else around you, you know, um, yeah, they're going to have to deal with. being home alone for 30 minutes while I work out, whatever it is, whatever
Mhm.
that looks like. Yeah, there might be some discomfort. We can't make everything perfect all the time for them so
Mhm.
that we can make it the best scenario for them.
Right, exactly. So where do you think, let's just go back to your childhood for a minute. Where do you
Let's do
think
it.
it came from, where the physical part of you and self-esteem, like, where do you think that all came from?
So I don't say any of this to blame anybody, and that's really important. My mom always dealt with her weight. She always was a thing, top of mind, top of conversation, that she was fat, overweight, and working on that, and wanted to was trying different diets and doing different things, and different medications and stuff. And I think I just absorbed that. I think I just took that from her. Again, it's not. It mortifies me to think that she would hear that and think that I'm like blaming her. And I'm not. I'm not at all. She was doing her best and living her life and going through what she was going through. And I just took what I took. Um, but yeah, I think that's probably the
Hmm.
biggest part of it. And they were my both my parents were great about telling me, making me feel loved, telling me like I knew I was loved. And I felt it,
Hmm.
but I just felt less than, and I just felt like, um, yeah, I'm not sure
Hmm.
how else to finish that thought. The other piece of it was like I always wanted to be popular. I wanted to be well liked, and I don't know exactly where the genesis of that was. I'm the middle child. That's a theory sometimes, right? Like oldest gets a lot of attention when he's the only one. Youngest gets a lot of attention when they're the baby. And sometimes the middle child gets lost. Big
Hmm.
personality sometimes. Big, troublemaker. It's me. But maybe that was there. I don't know. But my dad was very well loved, popular, magnanimous. He was a teacher and then a pastor, and you heard all the time as a kid, like, "Oh, I love your dad. He's so great." And I think I just wanted that. I think I just wanted that for myself as well. I never really had that thought until right now in this moment. So that's probably where that comes from to a degree. My brother was also pretty popular, older brother, so I wanted to follow in that. And my older brother was a skinny kid,
Hmm.
and I'm sure all those things kind of, that's the right cocktail to have me kind of make those associations that way. And I wasn't unpopular. I just in my head, like I said, I also wasn't super obese, but in my head I was like,
Yeah,
morbidly fat and never,
yeah.
so
Sometimes it's just in our head. It doesn't have to.
100%, 100%.
Right. Are your parents alive still?
My father passed away about 2 years ago. Two
I'm
years ago
sorry.
yesterday, and
That's
thank you.
right.
And
Yeah.
my mom is very much still alive.
Mhm.
I'm very grateful that she's
I
here.
must be very proud of you.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Hmm.
He was my dad was the best. He was always proud of us. He would be, um, yeah. It could be my absolute worst moment, and if I'm getting up to try again, he's very proud of you. Um,
That's great.
yeah,
That, that's what a compassionate, caring, loving father, is a wonderful example.
I was very lucky.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so here you are now. You're married again,
Yes.
and and anything I've ever seen or whenever you've spoken about your marriage or about your wife is glowing, like very much in love and glowing. And
I
what is this experience like for you now?
So I'll come home and I'll look at her and I have a hard time still believing that she's a real person. Let alone that she like knows who I am and lets me kiss her sometimes. Yeah, I'm blown away by her. Um,
I mean, she knows you inside and out and loves you. And so
yeah, that's
you
that's
feel
just
like
that's I can't. I'll never be able to wrap my brain around that. That's okay. Um,
maybe when you guys are together 50 years when you're much older.
yeah.
You'll
No,
believe.
she's really good. She's good for me even in that space too, because she won't let me just say like I'm so lucky. She'll say we're so lucky.
Yeah.
She's unlucky too. And I'm like, oh yeah, like she won't let me these things that seem like to me just innocuous, like I'm trying to, compliment or demure myself, like be uh, uh like knock myself down a little bit to throw her up. She won't let me do it. She's like, these this you don't no, we're both awesome. Like it's not these two, you don't need to do that for the other.
Yeah.
Um, it's really helpful. She has a very different perspective, different love languages, which stretches me in other ways too. I'm very words of affirmation. I want to hear it, and I cannot help myself. I will tell you 1,000 times in a million different ways how I'm feeling about you. I want to, and now after lots of therapy and AA, I want to process any kind of conflict or feeling I'm having. Like I want to just, we just want to work through it. And words was not a thing for her. She's like, she said, yeah, growing up, yeah, my mom loved me, but like we didn't say that. She's My wife's from England. I think that's part of it. When I met some of her school friends, we had this conversation, and they were like, "Yeah, my parents never said I love you." And then I said, "Do you say it to your kids?" They're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, good, that's good." But it's not, again, it's not right or wrong. It's just not how it was expressed.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
We need a lot from our families and our culture, our family culture.
yeah. So for her, spending time with her is like that quality time is the thing that really matters the
Yeah.
most to her. And it would be really easy for me to just work till 9 p.m. every night and like never really I love what I do, and I'm happy, and I don't, it sounds insane to say like I don't need to spend time with you, but I mean I do, but it's easy for me not to prioritize time with you and not feel like I'm uh, uh shorting the
Right.
love that I'm giving.
You're still
um
feeling the love and you're no matter what,
yeah,
you're still feeling
yeah,
it,
I'm feeling it, and I feel like
living
I'm
in
saying
it.
it right, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's not her, and so that's great because it forces me to have a lot more balance in my life because I respect her love language, and I respect what she needs, and we've talked about this, and it's helpful. It helps me, like I said, get a little more balance into my day.
No,
And
it's true. I think the more time people are together, sharing something, even if it's only an extra hour a day, that brings more intimacy. Whatever you
absolutely,
share, even if it's
absolutely,
how you cook together, I don't know, whatever it is, it's intimacy.
and it gives me opportunities to serve her too. Like the days that I'm able to come home, I'm able to cook and
Hmm.
do the things that I want to do because I love being of service. So it's
I love how you respect each other's love languages because we don't all have the same one. So people have a tendency of giving what they know,
exactly.
but sometimes you have to say, okay, so you have to listen and hear and observe and say, okay, well, you meant this. I want to give you this because this is all I know, but what's yours? And then try to do it their way.
Yeah, I was very lucky to have had experience with Gary Chapman and the concept in the
Oh,
book
yeah. Yeah.
before,
Hmm.
you know, years before I met her. So as our dating life got pretty serious, these were just conversations we had openly. Like, have you ever thought about this? What do you think yours are?
Hmm.
And to talk through it, and then to try to respect that and try to like, how can I show up for you in the way that matters to you? And the example, I mean, the language is just such a perfect analogy for it because, if you're speaking Spanish to me, you could be
Right.
saying it clear as day, and I don't know what you're saying, man. I'm not hearing it. So,
Right.
like,
That's right.
my father taught me from a young age, communication is never what's said; it's always what's heard. And so,
Wait a second. Say that again so people hear that.
yeah, communication is never what's said; it's always what's heard. So you can say whatever you want, if they
Mhm.
didn't hear it,
Yeah.
what you didn't communicate it. You didn't communicate that message, and it's not
Mhm.
about blame. It's about, okay, I need to make sure that it's being understood. And so when it comes to expressing and feeling love, I want to know that you are feeling what I am trying to. The message is being communicated. It's actually being felt, not just heard and intellectually understood. With words, with my love language, you might, okay, I hear you. I hear that you love me. I hear that you think I'm great, whatever, but like that might not
Hmm.
be giving the message that I want it to be. And it's not for her most of the time. So I want to, try to make sure I'm actually communicating that emotion.
And
Um,
part of that is going home early, like you said.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly that.
And then
Exactly
the
that.
added benefit is you actually enjoy it and you share things and you can be of service and all the other things you said.
It's so true. It's so true. One of the things that I love about the life that I've built in Florida is that I'll say it this way. I see a lot of people that like every week is just like, oh, how many days till Friday? And then every month is like, oh, how long till vacation? And I don't live like that at all. Like, I love my life. I have built a life that I don't need a break from. Um,
Mhm.
I get tired, but I'm excited for the next day. Like,
How amazing.
it's a beautiful thing, it's a huge blessing. And so I need to get like dragged to go on a vacation. I need to get like pulled, and she pulls me. Like, and then I'm never upset that we go. I'm always like, this was great. I'm so glad we did this.
But you need
But
to be pulled. You need to
yeah,
be pulled.
if it's left to me, I'm never taking a day, never taking it off.
But how amazing that is that you love your life and every part of your life that you don't even need to like
Oh,
take a break
it's
from it.
such a blessing. It's
Mhm.
such a blessing. Yeah, I think it's really important. And I think if somebody finds themselves in a place where it's, yeah, I realize I'm kind of wishing away every day. I'm like, how long till it's over? How long until my break? And then, how long until I'm out of my routine? I would just encourage you to look at immediate and then long-term ways you can change that, because you can make changes, and they might seem ridiculous and impossible. Like, my job, and yeah, I don't want to make light of your job or your career, but there are other jobs and other careers. I remember somebody telling me I had an office job when I was in the throes of addiction, and the counselor was like, maybe you should look at a different career. And I was like, what are you talking about, man? I spent my whole, like, school, like university. I've been successful here. Like, I'm not, you're crazy. I was like, that's the crazy. And now I wish I could go back and thank him. Um, it's 100. It was, yeah, my life is so much better. And I don't think I would do well in an office again.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit and tell me how you got here. How did you get to this place, this career?
Oh, yeah, yeah. So in rehab, I had every intention of going back to what I knew, corporate America. I was a marketing guy. Parts of it I really loved. I had been very successful. I had done, pretty high level for Capital One, for some smaller companies. Um, had lots of titles that made me very proud of myself. And uh, so I had every intention of going back to that. Coming out of rehab, I'm in a halfway house. I just got to pay some bills. So I started waiting tables again. Got very lucky, just so blessed, because I applied to like 15 restaurants in the area that I could walk to, and the only one that called me back is like right on the beach in a really nice place. But
Mhm.
my resume was like, yeah, I waited tables 8 years ago, and then I did all this stuff, and then nothing for a year. Like, please hire me. It's super sketchy. Um, but they gave me a shot, and it was a really great experience, and I had good friends there. And so I was waiting tables, and I was actually very quickly realized, oh, I might just do this forever. I love this. I love engaging with new people all the time. I love um, hanging out with my friends, basically, like work. I had great coworkers that I really loved. Um, I loved that my stupid puns, I had a new audience every hour at the tables. I could just tell the same jokes. No, I really enjoyed it. And I really loved that when work is done, work was done. Like, there's no, you get the worst shift of your life, and then when it's
Right.
over and you clock out, you can bury in the backyard. It's over. There's
Mm-hmm.
no deadlines for tomorrow that you have to, like, it's
Hmm.
over. I love that. So a much simpler existence. The stakes were also really low. I used to say, like, oh man, I forgot that salad. It's like,
Right.
babies aren't dying. Like, it's gonna be okay. Like, they might get really mad, but whatever. Like, nothing's really the end of the world here. I want to do the absolute best for everybody all the time, but we're human, and I don't have to.
Mhm.
And I actually wanted doing better for people because I wasn't stressed about making it.
Mhm.
But anyway,
Right.
as I was doing that, I had started getting into the gym in rehab. I literally had the specific thought, okay, if I'm gonna live, after trying to leave and end it, I said, if I'm gonna live, I might as well try not to hate myself. So I started eating healthier right away, and started working out. We didn't really have much else to do. Like, some guys would like just sit and watch DirecTV or whatever, and by the time you advance through that program, at the time, we didn't have our phones. And then as you move out of the really intensive group therapies, like, you just have like the whole afternoon, it's just kind of off. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna just go work out. I'm gonna go sit in the gym and try to do some things. And I started to feel really good about, you know, um, the work that I was putting in.
Mhm.
And then as new people were coming in, I was able to be really helpful because I had an athletic background. Um, and there was a trainer there who kind of like oversaw everything, and she was great. She told me, she's like, "You're going to be a personal trainer one day. You're so good at this." And I was like, "That stresses me out. The idea of like having to find clients and everything, it sounds like terrible. I don't want any part of that." Um, but thank you. It's very flattering. But I really quickly in rehab found purpose in helping other people in that space and with the eating. The way that program worked again was you'd get a gift card, a Publix gift card every week. They'd bus you to Publix. You can go buy the food you need for the week, and then you live in your apartment and you cook it.
Mhm.
And probably like the first week, like one of the like 18, 19-year-old kids was like, "Hey man, like Thursday, you got anything?" All I bought was chips and soda, and I'm out. Like, what do you got? And I'm like, "Yeah, come on in." And then you know what? Next week, why don't you just give me your card and I'll cook
Mhm.
for everybody. And I was kind of, planning meals and cooking for like, I think it was 12, 13 of us at one point, like, so managing a pretty big budget, like doing all this stuff. And which was, again, I felt very of service and I felt very helpful. And it's such an important part of recovery to, to 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 create to be of service because you're creating real authentic value in who
Yeah.
you are and what you're bringing as opposed to what I had always been trying to pretend pretend about or prove that I'm valuable by look at the title I have or look at the thing like look at this latest achievement. It's like no, I'm contributing in a way that's meaningful, and in the gym was a part of that. So I'm waiting tables now, and one of my friends at the restaurant says, "Hey, you should come to my gym. It'll make you throw up." And I said, "Cool." So I went with him to that gym, and I loved it. I thought this was great. I really loved the class structure that they had. I thought this was awesome. I said, "Hey, man, this is cool, but I don't have a car. It's like 20, 30 minutes from where we're at. Like, that'd be way too expensive to Uber every day." Um, He's like, "Well, I'll pick you up." And I was like, "Yeah, but the gym membership is like, it was like $120 or something at the time. Now it's, everything's more expensive now." And yeah, I can't spend all that money if I'm only going to go a couple times a week. And he's like, "I'll pick you up every day." And he did. He picked me up every day for 6 months at
Wow.
like 6, 7 in the morning. We'd go work out together. He got in the best shape of his life for sure. The worst thing that ever happened to him was I got a car
Oh, right. Not
because
going.
I never saw him again. I mean,
No.
I see him, but not like that. Like,
Yeah.
never. He's not a regular gym attendee anymore. But that accountability was an important lesson too. Like I realized that um, that's such a hack for a lot of people. Is
Mhm.
he wasn't willing to show up for himself. He was willing to show up for somebody else.
Right.
Okay, so set that up. Put yourself in that situation. That can be such a really useful tool. I use that with my clients now.
Mhm.
So I started doing. I was going to the gym every day. I got my own car. I started doing some personal training with the owner of the gym. He was,
Mm.
he was. I hired him to be my trainer. And pretty quickly he was like, "You'd be really good at this. Like, you know a lot. Like,
Mhm.
have you thought about this?" And I was like, "I mean, I think it'd be fun, maybe like on the side."
Mhm.
And that's what I did. I got certified and I started working with some of my friends at first, and then some other like members of the gym who had seen me just working out there and like, "Hey, you're always one of the hardest workers in the gym, and I saw you're working with other people. Can I hire you?" Like, of course. Um, and so I was fortunate enough to like be able to build that business without leaving the restaurant and having this other kind of sustainable income there. Um, but it was a pretty quick shift. Like it was within a year that it went from this other thing I'm doing to I'm not at the restaurant anymore, and full time here coaching classes and working with clients one on one.
Mhm. Wow. And so, and I can, as you said before, and I can tell, so you love people. So now you're around people, you're speaking to people, you're helping because and you're also very empathetic and helper. That's part of who you are. So you had that piece. And yeah. And do you help them with the food part too? Because you're
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not a registered dietitian or certified nutritionist or whatever, but it's such a huge part of your health and your fitness. And I give a lot of guidance and a lot of help. I just am always clear with that distinction. In the state of Florida, there's some pretty specific legal restrictions anyway about what I'm able to say and not say without that qualification, but I'm always happy to give guidance because I've done it. Like that's the biggest thing. A lot of people, and it's a weird little bubble we live in South Florida. We always joke like you're either everybody in South Florida is either a drug addict, a real estate agent, or a personal trainer. And I'm two of the three. I haven't gotten my real estate license yet, but maybe.
Right.
And then you want to ask them, oh, yeah, what's your real job? Oh, you're a real estate agent. Cool. What do you really do? Because there's only a few that are actually like doing that.
Yeah.
And training is the same way. And so, but a lot of people became, personal trainers because they always looked fit. They just, they were really, excellent athlete in college, high school, whatever, and they still looked fit like that. And then they just, people started asking them for help because of the way they looked, and that just kind of flowed into that.
Mhm.
And that does not mean they're not an amazing trainer who can help a ton of people. That's not a thing. I just didn't. That wasn't my story. My story was, hey, I know what you mean when you say I had a bunch of Oreos last night and I'm sorry and I don't know why I did that. Like I get it. Like I've been there, man. Um, and I've heard other trainers be like, come on, man, just
Yeah,
just
no.
stop. Like just close your pie hole, dude.
I
Like
love the psychological component of what you do, though, because you have that ability to understand a piece that some other, I'm not saying all other trainers, but some other trainers don't.
yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't really help to go, 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 go when you're not dealing with what's really happening.
And there's a level of empathy I can bring because
Mhm.
not just sympathy, but empathy, because I've been there. Like I know what that feels like. I know what you're going through. I know what it feels like to hate yourself even more because you failed and you
Mhm.
fell off the I fell off the diet this week. And you know what? That's probably this is one of the reasons it's so good we have different people, because for some people that's probably the worst thing they need. Some people probably need the guy who's gonna be like, "You're just a fat piece of shit. They need to get yelled at, and that'll motivate them the right way."
Right,
I
right,
would be a terrible trainer for that person because I would be too understanding and I would not let
right,
you know.
right. Your empathy would be
Um,
oozing out.
yeah, that's just not my. It's not who I am. It's not my style. And but there's plenty of guys that are, and that's great for them. And for the people that are like, you know, that need a little more empathy along the way.
And
You
just
know,
the hope that you can have two steps backwards, but you can still go five steps forward. You don't have to be
abs-
stuck. You're never
absolutely.
stuck.
And you probably didn't go backwards. You probably just stopped moving forward.
Right, right.
That's the biggest thing but so many of these things are the same exact thing that I experienced with addiction. Like
Mm,
and the only difference is that the threat of death from my drug addiction was immediate and imminent,
hmm
but it's the same outside of that, because the threat of death is like you can still kill yourself with food. It's just probably not going to be tonight.
Right.
You can still, and your quality of life's going to be garbage. Like you can still really hurt yourself
hmm
um, by doing what feels good right now and not ever prioritizing later. Um, in exactly the same way that you can with drugs and alcohol. It's just that drugs and alcohol might actually end you now. So it becomes much more urgent. It's also more socially acceptable to overeat than it is to go shoot heroin
Yeah.
or
No, but you're
get
right.
blackout drunk.
hmm
Um, Sometimes that's frustrating to me now.
hmm
And this is a new thing for me. It's not, I didn't, it's a new emotional thing I'm working through of like, why do we accept that like that? Shouldn't we be a little bit more like urgent about that?
hmm
And as a Christian in church and faith, like I mean, gluttony used to be one of the seven deadly sins, and now it's just not even. It's
Done.
not brought up. It's something we oh, we're gonna go to get ribs after church and just blow up. Like it's. I'm not saying everybody needs to be a health freak. I certainly don't think that, but I definitely think if you're in that space, there's a bit of hypocrisy if you're not trying to do the best you can with the body you've been given.
hmm
Um, if you really understand the idea that like we're supposed to be a steward of this gift and use it to the best of our ability to help other people. But even if you're outside of the faith, just in life, I wish it was more. I wish people saw more clearly the dangers ahead
But the food thing, it's, the food piece is hard though, because you have to eat, you have to.
Yes.
And a lot
Yes.
of our social world is wrapped around going to restaurants, meeting friends for lunch, going to dinner with friends. And the alcohol piece too is very natural when you go out to eat too. I went out with my family last night, and they gave me the drink menu before we got the menu, and there's certain very acceptable potential addictions or not for so good for you stuff out there.
Absolutely.
That's very acceptable in society. Now, I mean, not true in every society, but certainly in America.
Not just acceptable. It's like you
Or
said,
pushed, or pushed. Yeah.
yeah, parts of our culture are centered around it, food and drink.
Mhm.
Um, and it's interesting because I don't feel, I mean, I'm not, this is not an ego. I'm in the best shape of my life. There are plenty of people in much better shape than me, on stages performing, but I mean, I'm in elite physical condition for
Mhm.
myself. And I go to dinner with my wife all the time. Like we go out all the time. I'm not eating just chicken and rice, 3 meals a day, 7 days a week. I actually never eat just that. Like um, I the social experience and the actually what you're eating don't have to be intertwined. And that's a lesson that I love to help people see. Like, yeah, go to, okay, everybody's going out to this restaurant you love. Go to that restaurant. You're just gonna have something different. You're just gonna have, or maybe less of it. Like, or you're gonna make other choices all day or all week
Right.
to put you in a better position, right?
A little balance, right? A
Yeah,
balance. Yeah. Not to
yeah,
be deprived of something.
yeah, exactly right. And people, I understand all these frustrations. I do. I've been there. Oh, I don't want to count calories. That's too much work. Like, I get that. I understand that. I didn't want to do that either. But if you are trying to save up money for the down payment on a house
Right. You
and you
can't.
tell the guy, I don't want to budget, I don't want to track my spending, he's going to go, "Well, then you're never going to get there. Like, I don't know what you want to tell you, guy." Like, it's what I found is that in health and fitness,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of casuals who will say things to me like, "Oh, I would do anything. I would give anything to not be fat." This is especially, I used to hear that a lot more before the GLP-1 drugs became available.
Oh.
But
Mhm.
I would give anything to not be fat. And I would say, okay, cool, man. Like, here's how I started. I remember specifically this happened. I was like, well, here's what I did. It didn't even feel that hard. And he's like, yeah, yeah. Like, I thought you just said you'd give anything. What people really mean is, what many people really mean is I would give anything to not have to change and get the result. Like, I would give anything to just have that without doing any of the work. And
Mhm.
it's and that sounds like I'm insult. To me, it sounds like I'm like coming down on people or insulting people. I'm not. I don't mean to be.
Right.
Uh, I don't ever want that to be heard as like you're a bad person or anything like that. It's not. And that's another thing that's really important to me too. It's so important to me to get this message out is that you are you are valuable because you are. Period. That's
Yeah.
it. Your value has nothing to do with it. The way you look, or how long you're going to live, or how healthy you are, or how strong you are, or how attractive you are. None of that. You're valuable because you are.
Mhm.
Um, that does not mean that you cannot and should not pursue more and better in your health, fitness, and appearance. Um, they're not mutually exclusive.
Well, because you'll lead a happier, healthier life.
Yeah, you'll be
Healthier if you're,
exactly right. And because you're valuable, that's the thing too. Like,
and because you're valuable. Yeah.
because you're valuable, we want more of you. We want you around
You
longer.
live
We want you
longer.
to be
Right.
happier as you're here. I want you to be able to get off the toilet on your own at 80. I want you to be, um, I want you to meet your grandkids and great grandkids. I want you to be there. Like, it's,
Comes down to also quality of life, because I'm a hospice social worker too, among
oh
many,
yeah,
for 18 years now, I think. And equality of life is important. And so if you don't have control of everything, and certainly genetics, with health, some things you just can't
of
fight,
course.
but you can certainly do, but you have some control.
You're
And
not giving yourself the best chance. That's the thing. That's what I
yeah,
say. You
yeah,
could be doing everything right and still, you could have never been near a cigarette and get lung cancer. You could smoke
right,
every day and not get lung cancer.
right.
But
But you don't know
are
what's
you giving yourself the best chance if you're smoking every day? Definitively not.
right.
Um, and that's the thing. Like, and that's why. So I've talked a lot about on my social media and with my clients about effort
Mhm.
and not outcomes. I'm not in the outcome business. I can't grow muscle or burn fat. I can't sit down and do that. What I can do is eat properly. I can work out, and I can have faith that the outcome is gonna be what I want. And then I can adjust my effort if I'm not getting the outcome I want and keep working at it. But I'm in the effort business, not the outcome business. And there's a lot of peace there when you do that too, because I can say, hey, I did the best, I did the best I could. Like I don't have to feel uh, bad or feel regret if something doesn't work out the way that I wanted it to. I did the best I could with the information that I had. If I
Right.
get new information later, I might make a new decision, but I'm not going to live. I'm not going to have a ton of regrets about what I did before because I
Right.
didn't know that before.
Right. Which is important with everything. Right.
Yeah, these are all thoughts and a framework for life that really flowed out of recovery for me that just permeate everything in my life today. Certainly not just health and fitness.
Which I want to touch on because what you do on social media not only is about fitness, but you do have these incredible, maybe not Confucius, maybe that's a little bit, but like these incredible thoughts on life that really and that are empowering to yourself, I'm sure, but also empowering to others.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, I just had to say that because
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. The algorithm doesn't agree with you, but
I know I don't understand that stuff. For me
I
either.
don't care.
I don't, it's a little
I, I,
frustrating.
I care to a degree because I'd love to
Reach,
spread,
reach more
the
people,
message
right?
further, but I'm also not gonna like, uh, you know, I know right now things I could post that would get a ton of traction, and it's just not. I'm going to share what's important to me and what I think is valuable, and that's it. And that's if that works, great. If it doesn't work, okay.
Being always be true to yourself, and your message I think is incredible. Messages I should say are incredible, and the algorithm is something I don't get. It doesn't always make sense to me. That those are
Yeah,
number stuff. But yeah.
authenticity was a often. You just said it, man. Being true to yourself. Authenticity is such a big thing because it was such a foreign thing for me.
Mm,
I mean, I would just self-described chameleon in high school, and I loved that. I was like, I could fit in this group and that group, and I'm cool. And the
mhm,
reality is like, not really. Like the person I was pretending to be fit in this group, the person I was pretending to be fit in that group, um, but nobody. I didn't even know who I was, let alone any of them. So
mhm.
anybody who did, oh yeah, they like me. Like, no, they liked whoever I showed up as that day.
Right.
And there's no, so if I'm not being authentic, I have no opportunity to get authentic connection in response, which is a pretty lonely place to be. And that's certainly a big driver of my addiction as well, like the body image insecurities, but also that like, um I talked about wanting to be popular and fitting in and stuff like that. So those masks really left me isolated, even when I was getting what looked like connection and friendship and relationship. It was not really. Like on some level, that they don't even like you. They don't even know you. They can't like you. They might have loved you, but you have no idea because you never gave them a chance. You weren't authentic. And so that authenticity is so important. But it's also an important thing for your health and fitness because when you are not living authentically, your stress hormone is elevated. There have been actually specific scientific studies that looked at this. And your all-cause mortality, your risk of death from any cause is earlier,
Mhm.
is much higher
Mhm.
earlier because of elevated stress levels, and elevated stress levels come when you are not living authentically. Um, so the two big things that I think are universal are, yeah, like being as authentic as you can, being true to who you are, and not trying to present a certain way, for somebody else. The other one is people talk a lot about self-care. I'm going to
Mhm.
do a post about this soon, I think. People talk about self-care and self-care, like the idea people go to like, oh, bubble baths and massages and stuff and taking time off. And those things are all great. They can be absolutely self-care. But sometimes the most important self-care thing you do is to finish that thing you're working on that's stressing you out.
Mhm. To get rid of this,
um,
right? Rid of
and
this.
not take the break for the massage, but like just do the thing and get it done.
Yeah. Get it done.
Because that's another thing that's been shown through study after study to like elevate your cortisol levels, leave you in a less healthy place because you are you've got all these open loops that are running. And if you would just send the text back, close, do
Yeah,
that thing,
I
and
agree.
your stress level would just evaporate. And I work hard to live like that. I use to-do lists to like,
Well,
all right,
isn't it a great feeling to cross off the to-do
yeah,
list? Isn't that like, I mean, I think it hits a chemical. I mean, I think it's,
it's a dopamine hit. Yeah, it's a
yeah,
dopamine hit. That's
everything.
why the first and dopamine is a motivating chemical. Dopamine is the
Yeah.
the motivation molecule, right? So ancient man sees the tree that has apples in it. He gets a little hit of dopamine. He can get closer, sees the apples, gets a little dopamine hit.
Yeah.
He plucks it, you take a bite, you get a little hit. And it tells your brain, okay, come back here. We want to be here again. We want to pursue
Yeah.
this. We want to keep going. Um, that's why, and it motivates you to go do it again, repeat it, which is why it's so easily hijacked when you have a chemical that will give
Like
you
heroin,
a
right? Heroin,
thousand times the dopamine that a normal, other behavior would.
right? The
Um,
opiate, right? Is dopamine.
Yeah, almost every drug
Okay.
or addictive behavior has a pretty substantial impact on the dopamine system. Some affect serotonin a little more too, but
Mm.
dopamine's going to be a big driver there. The But yeah, opiates specifically, I call them dopiates because of that.
Oh,
The dopamine system
yeah.
is just
Yeah.
driving hard. But the uh, yeah, it's a motivating. So when you're making your to-do list, the first thing you'll make, I'll put it on my list is make a to-do list. And then I can cross that off when I'm done. And
I
now I'm
love
like, all right, great. What else can I cross off next? And you start to get a little into that, like,
hmm
that routine of knocking stuff out. But it also lets me take it out of my brain. And that's the real value of like, I keep a running list of reminders on my phone. So it's like, okay, I got to get that thing done. And if I don't put it down, I'm not going to do it right now because I'm with a client or something like that. But even, I can't even really send a thoughtful text to somebody right now, but I'm going to put it on this list so that I don't have to have it just banging around in my brain. I was like,
Yeah.
oh crap, I forgot. Oh, what? And I can just, okay, cool. And then when I have time, I schedule time on my calendar
Mhm.
to do to like knock out some of your to-dos. Like it gets put in there. If I have any to-dos that are very big,
Yeah.
one of the first things I'll do when I get to my daily like to-do list time is
Mhm.
schedule time for that whenever I can. And then follow up with, communicate with whoever that to-do is for or with about that timing. Hey, I'm expecting I'll be able to get this done, Saturday, Sunday, whatever, so that it's clear on that.
That's a great tool. I hope people are listening to that. I think I'm going to use that too. I'm going to
Go
take
for it.
that for me too, because I have a tendency of keeping it all in my head. And I think,
Yeah, my wife taught me this. Just write it down, get it out of your brain, and then you can move on. And then when I'm looking at the list, right, there'll be things on there that are big, really, really big. And the question for me has to become like, is there anything I can do about that today? Or not
Mhm.
even on the to-do list, but like sometimes things that are worrying me or things that are like feel like they're on the horizon. Okay, is
Mhm.
there anything I can do about that today? No. Okay. I have to then I'm not going to worry about this. And I'm going to make that choice because worrying about it is a choice. It doesn't feel like it. Sometimes it feels like you're just worrying about it, like it's just happening. But you can choose to let that go, and you can choose to. And for me, prayer and meditation are really valuable tools here.
Mhm.
If I'm struggling to let something go that may or may not happen,
But
but
even the prayer meditation for me, I would have to put it on my to-do
yeah,
list because
oh,
I
I
don't
do.
have time to do that. So,
I absolutely do. Yep, I absolutely do. I schedule that out every day. I have a specific. I get here early. I sit in my car. I have a YouTube video that's like 8 minutes long,
Mhm.
and I can't leave the car until I run through that whole like audio track and listen to it. Um, Sometimes I'm actually meditating. Sometimes I'm just doing it because that's the habit that I promised myself I'm going to do. That's the discipline, and that's okay. But by staying in the habit, by keeping the discipline of that habit, that's the win some days. Just like the gym, some days you're gonna have an amazing workout. Some days the W is that you walked in the door and you might get 2 sets and you'd be like, all right, I'm out, but you stayed in the habit. That's there's so much value in that.
So how do you
Um,
help someone accept that? Accept that and accept the baby step concept too, that it doesn't always have to be this big, you know.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, because something is
Mm.
infinitely better than nothing
Okay, that's a great thing to say. This, yeah.
in almost every area of your life.
Yeah.
Almost. There are times where maybe something could be worse than nothing. I'm sure there are examples I'm not thinking of, but hey, I'm trying to get healthy again. I'm trying to get active again. Oh, somebody told me I got to get 10,000 steps in. Ugh, it's 9 p.m. I got 1,000 through my day. That's it. If you
Mhm.
went and took a walk and got another 1,000 or two in, that's so much better than not doing that. So
Mhm.
much better. Or,
Right.
sit down in your chair and stand up and do that 10 times. That's
Mhm.
better than not doing that. Infinitely better.
Yeah.
And then for guys that get into the gym and they start to really like it, like, okay, but I don't have 2 hours today to get down there, work out hard, shower, and okay, cool. What can you do in 30 minutes where you're at? There's plenty.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, buying into that concept of, hey, it doesn't have to be perfect, it's just got to happen,
Mhm.
is real, and it's just, it happens to me all the time. Just yesterday, I didn't have as much time as I wanted. It wasn't my best workout, but man, I got in what I could get in, and I feel good about that work. So,
Mhm. Oh my gosh, well, everything you're saying is going to be so incredibly helpful for people.
oh, I'm glad. I really hope so.
No, absolutely. So, are you ever afraid that your trader within will come back? And then do you have a plan, or do you think
Such a good question. 'Cause that guy never leaves. That guy doesn't leave. That's crazy. I used to think for a long time. Matter of fact, one of the things I remember saying this. One of the things that I was most insecure about was that I had body image issues and insecurities about my body,
Mhm.
especially as I started to get into like decent shape. Because I would look around like I'm not the fattest guy in this room. My brain knows that, but
Mhm.
I feel like that. And
Mhm.
I now I don't, and especially as a man, I didn't want anybody to know I feel like that because that's like a girl's thing, which is a big problem too. Any men that are listening to me here at all or ever, whenever I speak anywhere,
Mhm.
if you if you've ever uh, felt like you're the only one feeling like that, you're not. You're not at all. We all feel like that. It's not a women's issue. It's a human issue. Women only just were able to talk about this stuff in society recently, but men still, I think, feel like they're not allowed. I've heard very loving, well-meaning spouses. She was a therapist actually, and her husband was like, "I'm gonna go change this shirt. I feel fat in this shirt." She's like, "Stop being a girl. Let's go." Like,
Oh.
and she thinks she's being jokey in the relationship, whatever. Like, man, that hits. Like, it just hits
Another
so.
great thing that you're doing, though, is you're giving permission for men to speak about this or anything. I mean, every time
Yeah,
I have a man come on in general on this show, I always thank them, and I'm going to thank you for giving permission for men to talk about what's going on inside.
it's so important. It's so important. We need to all be better about it, and we need to know it's okay. I'm very blessed. We talked about my parents earlier. Like I'm so blessed to have had the father I had because somebody just told me the other day, if you feel comfortable like talking about or like expressing love to your spouse or something like that, or something that has never been a problem for me, they're like, yeah, that's like you're evolved past masculinity. I was like, that's never even for me. That's always just been. I think it was just like telling my wife how much I love her. Like that's never not been a
Mhm.
that never was mutually exclusive to masculinity in my book. It never was, and I'm lucky that I had that example. And then other areas, the message from society was different, and I got the wrong thing. And so often we don't even realize that's how we're acting. And I think that's one of the reasons talking about anything is so important because you can realize it as you're saying it, or somebody else can point out to you, hey, that idea, where did that come from? Because that's not you're operating under a set of facts that aren't real. You're there's a set of rules that you've internalized that are not reality here, and
Right.
and you can be a lot more free than you realize.
Mhm.
But yeah, so body image insecurity was one, and you asked me, are you worried your trader within will come back? And so I
Mhm.
used to really, that was my I want to rid myself of insecurity, and man, that's just not real because I'm a human. That's not a real. That's not a real goal. The real goal is to recognize that trader when he's talking
Mhm.
and then choose how I'm going to respond instead of acting on instinct, which is what I have done for a long, long time. I think so many people do. You have the emotion and you act. You don't even realize why. You're just, um, and instead of going, okay, oh yeah, there's that insecurity again. All right, well, okay, he's wrong. Next, or
Right.
what can I do about it? Again, I'll come back to like, okay, well, can I do anything about that today? No, I already worked out. I'm eating. Okay, no, I'm good. I have come to find for myself, and I think this is true for many, many people. Most of the men that I talk to, when it comes to like health and fitness, if you're not where you want to be physically, like you don't feel like your appearance is where you want it, your health is where you want it, many will not like do anything because it feels so far away. It feels so impossible.
Mhm.
But once you get started and you feel like you're moving in the right direction, you'll
Mhm.
still be nowhere near where you want to be.
Mhm.
You might want to look like, Brad Pitt 20 years ago, and you got 100 pounds to lose. So you're nowhere near your goal in your head. But just by the fact that you're doing the work, moving in the right direction, you're going to have a sense of pride and value and accomplishment that is invaluable and that will really help silence that voice. It'll
Mhm.
take that traitor and say, hey, yeah, okay. I mean, I hear you, but I'm doing everything I can. So we're good.
So that's what I say sometimes about the trader, because I do think that it hangs out around. And I do
Never
think
leaves.
whatever it was trying to have you do, had they even may have, it's part of you, had good intentions. It was just bad advice, you know,
Sometimes, yeah, for sure.
sometimes. So it's kind of saying like, I got this, thanks for trying, but go back in the garage or go back wherever, and I got this. I can now make much better choices for myself.
Yeah, and I love that. And if you're like the best defense against it is the way I'm living my life. Like the best defense against that is,
Right, right.
no, I'm doing everything I can do. Like I'm yeah, I am taking the actions I can take. Um and so okay, I hear you. Like, I mean, there's still days. Again, I'm only I'm like less than 10% body fat. I'm pretty strong. Like and I'm saying that only because there are days I still feel like I'm a chubby 11-year-old kid. Like uh,
Mhm.
okay, and I can I can just get that feeling and go, all right, yeah, well, I'm gonna go work out today and I'll feel better. That's the other thing is knowing that that voice isn't permanent,
Yes.
right? That thought is just okay. Hey, that'll be gone in 20 minutes. Like
That
that's
is an
what
important piece, though, because just like with anxiety, when people have an anxiety attack, it's just that knowledge that you're having it and it's going to last for, whatever, but it's going to stop.
this will be over soon.
It will be
Yep.
over. And then you
This will be
can
over
that
soon.
be part of your past, and you're going to,
And these things, these tools, everything we're just talking about right now is a direct one-to-one translation to your diet and your fitness. And that's why these lessons that I've learned in recovery have made me such a better and more useful trainer and help to people that are in this journey. Um, that one we talked about like hunger and I want to like, oh God, I'm at my kids at a birthday party. I'm here. All they have is pizza. I gotta eat. Like, no, you don't. You can wait. You feel
Mhm.
like you gotta eat. You don't. I promise you don't.
Mhm.
Um, you're gonna be fine. You can wait until later or tomorrow or
Mhm.
but learning that skill is tough. But that feeling of I gotta I need is not. It's just like that feeling of, oh man, everybody's judging you. Like, no, they're not. It's just a feeling. It's a thought. It does not necessitate action. Um, and then we talked earlier about kind of operating on autopilot. Like I have a
Mhm.
feeling and I act without even really
Right,
understanding why I acted.
right.
And that is, I mean, if anybody says they haven't experienced that with food, I can't relate to you because that was my whole
Yeah.
existence for a long time, like mindless snacking or whatever else. Or I want something. I talk to people that are struggling with diet. I give an example of the grilled chicken test. Are you hungry or do you want to eat? These are not the same thing.
Mhm.
Um, you
But
know,
there's that you're triggered and the automatic response.
right. And so this is what I'm trying to help them break down. It's like, are
Right.
you hungry or do you want to eat? Because if
Right.
you're hungry, you probably should eat something. If you just want to eat, you
Hmm.
should probably let that feeling pass and move on.
Hmm.
If fat loss is a goal for you and you're in a healthy weight and that makes sense for you, I want to be real clear. I'm don't
Hmm.
advocate, get into crazy unhealthy levels or having a bad relationship with food. But the grilled chicken test that I talk about is like, okay, so you know, that time where you're like, oh, I'm hungry, I want something, I don't know what I want. Like, okay, how about there's a piece of like grilled chicken with some, you know,
Hmm.
buffalo sauce sound like a good thing to eat right now? Like, no, but like, we got any like cheese fries? Like, you're not hungry. You just you want to eat. You want some dopamine, or you were bored.
Right.
I borrow an acronym from recovery. In recovery we talk about HALT. Are you hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? That might
Hmm.
be what's really driving your trigger. And here I say, are you bored, angry, lonely, or tired? Because
Hmm.
those might be really what's going on. It's making you want some cheese fries or like some chips or something salty or whatever. But it's like, no, you know what? Yeah, dude, some grilled chicken or like my last dinner sounds like something really good right now. You probably should have a meal, like, you know, have some food. And the point there is what you said is to help you go, all right, instead of just feeling react without any thought in there, to try
Hmm.
to bring it into the prefrontal cortex and have you make a choice, um, an
Exactly.
intentional choice, because you're making a choice, but have you make an intentional choice
Right.
that's based more in what you want long term than just what you're feeling right now.
Hmm. I have these bracelets which say Traitor Within. And the whole purpose of the bracelet is that when you feel triggered, you look down, you see the bracelet, and you then try to bring yourself, and you can do grounding exercises
Yeah,
or breathing exercises or just slap the, it's like a rubber bracelet and
I
just bring
love
it
it.
back to your head and say, and then do the questions like you said, if it's in regard to that or whatever it is that you're being triggered.
Well, and we talked about you brought up too how like food is a
It's
tricky
tricky.
mistress
Yeah.
because
And it's so
I can survive the rest of my life without heroin. You can't survive the rest of your life without food. So
correct.
you have to find some balance there for the most part. And yeah, so being able to stop and go, all right, you know what's really driving this action here
Mhm.
is important.
Yeah, exactly. So before we end, is there anything that you would like to add? And how can someone find you as well?
You can find me on Instagram. That's where I probably spend most of my time in social media. I have a TikTok that I never use. I'm bad about it. I have a Facebook I'm on mostly for birthdays.
Mhm.
But probably very appropriately for a 41-year-old white man, I'm on Instagram. So this is where I belong. But it's my Instagram is Timstagram CPT.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, that's where I'll share my thoughts and the, you know, the successes of my clients that I'm very proud of and the work that I'm doing. And let's see, anything else that I want to share. You know, I feel like we've really hit some of the most things that I'm most passionate about. Focus on the effort and having faith in the outcome. There's a lot of peace in that. In that, I didn't talk about peace, but I think a lot of us are going through life without peace, and there's so much peace available if you know how to find it and
Mhm.
and know how to take it really. And we've alluded to it, we've talked about it with certain things, but I want to just articulate that real quick. You know, even the to-do list idea and the putting it out of your head, like is there anything I do about this today? No. Okay, then I'm gonna not worry about it. I can revisit this tomorrow. It'll be
Mhm.
okay. Like there's nothing I can do right now, so I'm gonna let that go. Um, it's not just about your cortisol levels; it's about you having some peace in your heart, and it's a
Mhm.
beautiful thing. And that's been a powerful thing for me. I did a post about this yesterday with the anniversary of my father's passing, and it's not that in your life there won't be storms. It's that you can have peace in the storm
Mhm.
if you know where to look and know how to find it.
Mhm. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for all that you talked about. Everything will be, I think, incredibly helpful for so many
Oh, I
people.
hope so.
And yeah. So in the
Thank
show,
you for having me on.
I am so honored. Thank you for being on here, and thank you for letting me know you and letting me, follow you.
Of course, of course. And if anybody does want help with their health and fitness, I do work with some people remotely, but I
That's
could,
what I wanted to know. So
yeah,
so even if you don't live in Boca or in the Boca area and see
yeah,
you, you can do online coaching.
absolutely. Yep. I work with some people just like this over Zoom sometimes in their gyms. I can write routines and programs. I can just help get you to a place where you can find the classes and stuff that help you. Doesn't need to be a situation where you hire me and I make money. I don't care about that. I'd much rather see you find a home that you're happy with that has nothing to do with me. But if you have questions, need guidance, please reach out. I'm here to help.
Thank you. Thank you for being you.
I can't be anybody else. I've tried for years.
Yeah, they